Mel, turned into a really, really good start to the season now. First and foremost, your reflections on last Sunday.
Yeah, I think going into the game it was always going to be close, and I think that was evident during the 90 minutes. It was a really close game. I think both teams had good chances to win the game, but fortunately for us, we stood strong, especially towards the end, and managed to come away with all three.
You spoke so much last year about games that you come on the other side of that 1-0 margin. How satisfying is it that you probably not keep 22 clean sheets, but at the moment you're coming out on the right side as opposed to last season?
Yeah, really important. We want to have a solid back line and a solid goalkeeper, which over the course of the season so far that they've stood strong, and it's a collective effort. From the front, with Liz up front, all the way through the team, knowing their roles and responsibilities, practicing it, rehearsing it, building their relationships during the week, and they're full of confidence at the minute, and they don't feel like they're going to concede, which is a good feeling for them.
And the goal you scored probably sums up the early season in terms of your three new signings, the run from Jenny, and then the cross from Mary Matilda, the finish from Jenny too. It sums up the impact they've made.
Yeah, I think it just shows that quality, and it's work in progress, like I keep saying. But the run from Katie and Jess Brown picking up a good inverted position, they're the patterns that we want to see, and it's nice to see it coming off. And it was a great bit of play from Mary coming inside, and Liz went from post, Jenna's gone back, and Mary's picked one out, and it's gone in the back of the net, which was great for Jenna to get her first goal.
Talked about how competitive this division is going to be, and obviously we see that again on Sunday with the opposition you're playing, who are coming off the back of an incredible result, really. What are you expecting from Crystal Palace this week?
Again, another tough team. Play very similar to us. Got some really good players. I think it's going to be pretty similar to the Southampton game, to be honest. We're going to have to show our quality on the ball to get something out of the game.
You'll be hoping for a positive result, obviously going into that little break to build on what you've done so far. It would obviously be incredible to get that little first pause, if you like, with potentially 10 points on the board. Yeah, we
want to win the game. We want to win all our home games. We want to make Epplton a fortress, and we've got a big incentive for the fans to come out in terms of the grassroots clubs on Sunday. So hopefully there's a big crowd there to support with, because they certainly help get over the line when the games are close. So yeah.
And injuries-wise, obviously you didn't have Emily Scarr with you last week. How's Emily doing, and how's the squad more?
Yeah, she's back running. Hopefully she gets out on the grass this afternoon. But yeah, hopefully that should be in the squad for Sunday.
And just lastly for me, it's obviously deadline day for Championship and Super League clubs. Where are you at with deadline day? Are you still looking at anything? Are you hoping things are going to fall? What's the general?
Yeah, we're pretty close to getting one in. That's definitely going to go down to the wire, so you'll sit tight, and hopefully we'll have some news for you over the next couple of days.
Are you expecting much more beyond that, or are you just working on that one?
Just the one, yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just ask you a couple of more general ones, Mel, because it'll be the last time we see you pre-match before obviously England are up next weekend. I mean, how important is it for the status of women's football in the region and everything to have this kind of event, and the fact that the FA do seem pretty keen to, obviously there's been games here, there's been the Alan Clark Cup at the Riverside. How positive is that, and how important is it?
Yeah, I think it's it's really good for the region, and it's twice now that they've come to the Stadium of Light. It's good for us to showcase women's football in the region, and to try and get new fans coming to support the women's team. I think it's going to be pretty much a sellout. We'll be there. I think our team's going to be in the fan zone before the game to promote what we're all about. The players will watch the game and be around and be visible for Sunderland fans to see. Sunderland women's team as well. So huge for the area, and delighted. I think the weather played a terrible part last year. They came up the storms and stuff. Yeah, so it'd be really good if we can fill the Stadium of Light and welcome the Lionesses home as well.
And where do you stand on, so obviously Sunderland have such a great kind of legacy with the England team over the last decade or so, that whole generation of players, Jill, Steph, Beth obviously now, Lucy, that whole generation. And it's obviously a massive part of Sunderland's history, heritage and everything. But it's a very different world now, if you like. The Super Leagues come, Man City, Chelsea, Man United, all of that kind of stuff. So it's very, very difficult to envisage a time with the greatest one in the world where a club like Sunderland, who don't necessarily have that finance, can effectively have a whole generation of England players coming through. So where do you see that? Do you see it as good legacy to have, or do you see it as almost, look, we're a different club now, it's a different time, it's a different generation, don't kind of saddle that on what we've got now?
I think we still very much want to develop our players through the pathway that we've got. The pathway is stronger than it ever has been before, in terms of the new pro game academy we've got, which bridges the gap from under 16s to the first team. We've got Katie Watson and Grace Eade who've just been called up to the under 19 training camp. They're in the top 20 in the country, playing championship football, which is not many 18-year-old, but they're not even 18 yet, they're still 17, can say that they're doing that. We've got Emily Cassop, who was under 16 England captain in our pathway. So the conveyor belt's still working away. Will we have senior England Lionesses playing at this level? No. But hopefully, as we kind of grow up the league and get into the WSL as our aspiration, yes, in the future.
And how much harder is it now, and how much harder might it potentially get in the next 2 or 3 years for Sunderland to, if you like, corner that North East market in terms of getting those young players? Because when Steph and everyone was coming through, Sunderland was the logical place for them to go to. Now obviously you've got Newcastle growing the women's team, you've got Borough kind of bringing their women's team back on board, you've obviously got Durham and the uni link that they can offer. How hard are you having to fight, and how much harder might that get?
I think it's all about the product that you can offer the players, and the players ultimately choose where they want to go and play football, but we're really passionate about what we deliver here. It's not just about stuff on the pitch, it's the off the pitch stuff that the players receive as well. They don't want for anything, they've got everything that they need, we've got a good environment, and like you say, the legacy is that we know what we're doing in terms of producing young talent. And
just the last one, specifically kind of on the Lionesses, in a lot of previous World Cups or Euros, an awful lot of the talk has been about kind of growing the game, getting young girls involved in football, all of that grassroots, everything. It felt this time round almost that it had gone past that a little bit, that actually a lot of the talk was about who's Serena Vee we're picking, has she got the right team, why is she not doing this, why were they football questions as opposed to we need to grow the game. Do you think that that's right, and if so, that's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? Yeah, I think it is at that level. I think where we're at as a club, I think we're still trying to grow our game. We want to, I think you can see through the attendances, we get a good maybe 500-600 there every week, but we want 1,500 in there every week. So we've still got a bit of work to do off the pitch in terms of how can we maintain them. You see the big crowds at the Super League, the 40,000s in the Emirates and so on. Which get the headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. But getting 1,500 into Everton every other week shouldn't really be that difficult. So having the Lionesses in the region and trying to grow the game in that aspect is it's still really important for us.
Brilliant, thank you.
Mel, hi, Jerry from Look North. Just to pick up on a couple of points there, looking ahead to this weekend, back to the top two, you both won your last 2 games, very little between you. What's going to make the difference this Sunday?
I think it's just going to be the quality. Whoever's got the most quality when they've got the ball, and whoever's going to take their chances when they arrive. And I think the pleasing thing for us over the course of the season is that we have created chances. I think we could have killed games off a lot sooner than we have to take the pressure away from us. So when them opportunities arrive, we need to be more ruthless in and around the edge of the box.
Have you been talking about? This is a team that's just put 9 goals past an opponent. How do you deal with that, or is it something that you think is an aberration you can put to one side and just say play your own game?
I think it shows that you've got to turn up and you've got to be at it. There's no easy game. Yes, they're a good side. They've got a big travel up to the North East. We need to take advantage of that. But like always, we just need to look after ourselves and make sure we do our best.
So Borough women are playing at the Riverside. I'm sure you expected me to ask this, but for the first time this weekend, Newcastle women playing at St James's. It's happening around the country. Can you see a direction of travel whereby at some point you will be playing at the Stadium of Light?
I think potentially. I think over the last couple of seasons we have played a few games there, but like I said, it comes back to the crowd. When you've got 1,500 in Appleton and 1,500 in the stadium, it feels very different, and we like the atmosphere, that we like to feel like it's full, because we I think when it is full you see a different team, and they really perform in front of the crowd. So You know, if you wanted to fill the Stadium of Light with 50,000 Sunderland fans, I'll quite happily play there, but I'll stick to Appleton for now and hear that Appleton roar behind her.
But it is a symbolic thing, isn't it? And women's, you know, the highest levels of women's football are coming to the Stadium of Light a week on Friday.
Yeah.
So is it a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that, you know, as the game grows, as the support can grow, you'll be getting many more than 1,500 perhaps if you were in a bigger venue?
Yeah, I think you have to sustain it first, and then if you outgrow it, then you obviously look at alternatives, but we haven't outgrew it yet, so, you know, like I say, there's a lot of work still to be done in terms of growing our fan base and making sure the Sunderland fans come out and support the women.